Hello everyone and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today in the review box we have one of the earliest releases from CM Model. This is their McLaren P1 GTR. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this one and see if it is worth adding to your collection. So let's get things started with our casting. So just taking a quick turn around to look at the proportions, we will see that the proportions are absolutely excellent. Everything looks right, and it looks like a P1 GTR. We'll go ahead and plop the real-life car up in the top right-hand corner. While we do that, let's go ahead and get started going over the plastic bits. So first things first, the entire base is plastic, and that means that your splitter is going to be plastic, and your diffuser back here is also plastic, which means it doesn't blend in super well, but it also kind of has that more matte finish, so it does kind of give off the carbon fiber-esque vibes. So it doesn't look bad. Also, our plastic dive planes here, our headlights are little plastic inserts. This little tow hook right here is made out of plastic. The antenna up top here, plastic. And then as far as I can tell, the rear wing is also plastic. So just be mindful when you are displaying this one that you do not break those little pieces off, since they are a little bit more flammable. As far as the casting details go, you can see all of our little body lines that you'd want to see in there are casted in there and casted in there very nicely. It looks very nice. All the little vents, intakes, and cutouts look really, really good. There is meshing kind of casted in here as well, which looks good. It's been a little gloppy with the paint, but not horrendous. All of this up in here could have been perhaps a little bit more defined. This is probably the weakest area on the casting itself, but overall, not terrible. And then over on the hood here, roof scoop, sorry, not too shabby. Overall, a good casting. Moving into our paints and deco, this is the silver version. It's silver and orange 01 on the side. This is a real-life version of the car. As far as I can tell, it's one of the presentation models. It's the model I always think of when I think of this car. I would say I think that the orange on the sides here and up top perhaps needs to be a little bit more orange. It is a touch on the yellow side. But other than that, it's pretty much perfect. I mean, we've got the 01 back here on the wing, McLaren P1 GTR on the side. If we get closer, you'll see a little Union Jack, all kinds of little sponsors, assumably about as realistic as you could want them. P1 GTR down here on the splitter on both sides. 01 up front, McLaren on like the sun visor area. Just overall looking very, very nice. Moving into our details category, this one is pretty highly packed with details. So we did talk about the dive planes up front and the little tow hook, which is always cool. Our headlights are plastic inserts, which looks good. Back through here, we do have a little bit of meshing, which looks really, really nice. See if I can... I'm not going to be able to get that on camera for you, most likely, though. Down the sides, again, it's not as good as I feel like it could have been, but it's not terrible either. We are very nicely detailed on the interior. Coming to the back side, though, this is where I do have a little bit of a gripe. We do not have any kind of taillight. Now, I know this car's taillights are very thin, like basically through this section here and right there. But they're not even painted on, and there's really no reason they couldn't have painted them on there. I realize the plastic insert probably not possible, but paint 100% possible. Other than that, though, we do get exhaust tips right here, and they are painted. And then we do have just some, like, internals inside there that are kind of casted in and looking good. Although it's just not painted or got a lot of, like, definition to it. But not terrible. When we come to the wheels are accurate. They even have the correct Pirelli P0 tires. However, they do have treads on them, which I imagine that this car in real life most likely uses slicks, since it's primarily it's exclusively a track car. So I doubt the real life car uses treaded tires. Alright, for our roll test. Newer CM models actually do roll pretty well. This one, however, not so much. As you could maybe say there, you can get the wheels to actually rotate and turn, but there is quite a lot of friction there, and they don't necessarily want to do that. So it does not really roll. I went ahead and put this one on the scale, and it came out to be 32.05 grams. So it does have a little bit of weight to it, but it is not necessarily like super hefty. Pros and cons time, getting started with our pros. One of the biggest pros of this one is just the level of detail. It is, again, like I said, not crazy, and it's not even up to today's versions of CM models standards, but it's still pretty good. I mean, it's Kyosho levels, I would say, at the very least. That little tow hook up front is just kind of like the chef's kiss. That looks really cool. So you have a nice level of detail. And the other big pro is, as far as I know, this is the only McLaren P1 GTR done in 1/64th. So if you want this car in 1/64th, right now, this is your only option. As far as cons go, we did talk about one, and that is the lack of any kind of taillight whatsoever. That's really pretty unexcusable. No reason that that couldn't have been painted. However, I probably can just paint that myself, and it will look just fine. The other big gripe I have with this one is that it is overpriced. It is why I waited so long to actually pick this one up. This one goes for about $30 to $35, and it's just not quite worth that much. I would say it's more like a $20 to $25 model. But again, this is something that newer CM models have addressed. They actually come with a bit more, are a lot more detailed, and are about $25 usually. So, if you still want this one, though, that is, I think the newer releases of this actual casting fall into that. So if you just don't really care about the deco, there is other options for you. And for some quick size comparisons, here are a few I felt were notable with the Hot Wheels McLaren P1 and the Hot Wheels McLaren F1 GTR. And here we have it with some other track-oriented supercars with the McLaren 720S GT3 from Sparky and the Pagani Zonda Revolution from Tarmac Works. Alrighty guys, it is now time to give my final thoughts. And overall, I'm going to give this one a 9.5 out of 10. Because while it is really, really nice, there is a few things that could have been better. And I think CM Model has acknowledged that, and they have probably addressed that with newer versions of this casting. However, though, those little things like the taillights really are kind of like, man, that was a big oversight. Someone really should have been able to figure that one out. However, that being said, though, it is still really, really nice overall. The paint looks great. The detail looks really nice. And it's just got a good look next to other models in your collection. So, not bad overall. I would still highly recommend this one to anyone who's a big fan of supercars, who's a big fan of like track cars like this, or who's just a big McLaren fan in general. So, definitely one that you should get in your collection. Just pick whichever deco you like best because they do have quite a few to choose from. Alrighty guys, and with that, that is all I have for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and leave a comment telling me what your thoughts are on this particular model, and I will see you in the next video.